Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and today I'm going to show you how to build this ultimate survival base in Minecraft 1.17. As you can see, this house is surrounded by a defensive wall made out of the lovely new Deepslate, and on the inside of that wall we have plenty of room to plant some crops. Heading on inside the base we have plenty of storage, enough to hold all of your different items. There's also an enchanting table in the center, as well as some furnaces and just about anything else that you would need in a survival world. And lastly, upstairs is a small bedroom. Before we start building, you might want to check out the materials list, which is written down in the description below. I do just want to say I am counting this by hand, so I rounded a lot of the blocks up to account for any miscounts. Once you found a location to build in, the first thing you're going to want to do is make this circle shape, which if you can't just count by looking at it and need some indication on how wide all of these lines are, well, this is 5 across, this is 3 across, this is 2, and this is 1. And then it basically just repeats all the way around. So 5, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, so on and so forth. So once you got this shape built up, you then want to come to one of the 5 wide sections here, and that is going to be the entranceway. So whichever one you want to be the front, you're going to go ahead and knock out the middle 3 blocks, and you're just going to go ahead and put them in the floor instead. We can then have a warped fence gate in the middle with 2 warped fences either side, so that we can actually get inside of this thing. And you could climb over the wall, but that's only at the moment. We're going to be doing something to remedy that. So we're going to start off with our cobbled Deepslate slabs, and you just want to go around this circle every now and again, placing a slab down until you get to the other side over there. You can then switch over to some stairs and do the same again, this time kind of rotating the way that they are rotated. And then lastly, we can grab our full blocks, and you just want to fill in the rest of the gaps with those full blocks, which will make it over 1 block high so that nothing will be able to get in other than spiders. And then once you got all of that done, you can then go around with some cobbled Deepslate walls, and just every now and again on the highest 4 blocks, just add in a couple of these. Goats too will be able to jump over, of course, but they should leave you alone for the most part. They just may tramp your crops, so maybe try and set up your base away from these guys. So the final thing we need to do for the wall is grab some regular Deepslate, just the smooth variant that is found underground, and we just want to exchange a couple of the full blocks for that smooth variant. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't come in slabs and stairs, so we're only going to be able to use this on the full blocks, but just go around here, adding in some of this so we get a little bit of texture into our wall. Before we start planting in our crops, we of course need to hydrate the land beneath it, and we're going to do that using some water buckets. And I've already marked where the water is going to be going, and it's not actually the stream that's visible, it's underneath all of these blocks here. So we got the 2 at the entranceway here, we then got the single one on the other 3 5-wided sides, and then lastly we just have 4 underneath all of these single blocks in the corners. So hopefully that makes sense, and once you got all of the water sources placed in, you can just go ahead and fill in the dirt in front of it. There are actually 4 additional water sources we have to add in to fully hydrate all of the crops, and they're actually on the inner circle. So what we're going to do is come to the 4 corners here with the single block, and we're going to count in diagonally 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th block here we're going to break that and fill it in with a water bucket. So as you can see, it's 1, 2, 3 blocks away from that corner, and we can do that 3 more times so that we end up with something like this. And now what we're going to do is a little bit weird, and it probably won't make a whole lot of sense at the moment, but you just want to break the block underneath the water source and replace it with a full brick block or a slab if you want to save on some resources, and then you want to have 1 waterlogged brick wall and 2 more regular ones on top of it. And yeah, you can do that for the other 3 water puddles. Now what you can do next to all of these brick walls is have a stripped dark oak log on the diagonal, just like that, and on top of them we're going to have 1, 2, 3 more blocks for a total of 4. And now we can just place ourselves on top of this brick wall if I can get myself positioned. There we go. And we're going to break away these 2 grass blocks and replace it with a barrel. And then we're going to have 1, 2, and 3 more on top of both of those. So you should have something like this, which, as you can see I've already done, can be copied round to the other 3 corners. If you want to, you can go ahead and plant in all of your crops on this outside ring so that they go on growing whilst you're building this, but it's probably going to be easier if we just wait until the end before actually planting in all of the crops. So if you want to, go on ahead. If not, just hold off and do it with me. So now what we can do is start on the roof outline, and we're going to grab our dark oak stairs to do this and just come to one of the 4 sides where we're going to have an upside down dark oak stair on top of both of those pillars, and then a regular one on top of it, and then pretty much we're just going to repeat that pattern of upside down stair to regular stair all the way until they eventually come together in the middle like this, where we can have an upside down stair in the center. And on top of that one, we're going to have a dark oak slab with 1 coming out in front of it, and underneath that we're going to have a chain and a lantern, and then we're also going to have 2 more blocks that are slabs coming off the back of that one. And you can do this for the other 3 sides. As for connecting them up on the corner here, what we want to do is have 2 dark oak planks on top of that brick wall, and then we're going to have 2 dark oak stairs either side of that full block with 2 slabs just below it, and then we're going to have 2 more dark oak stairs placed how I am, so you're facing into the stair so that they curve round just a little bit. So you should end up with something like that, which, as I've already done, once again I've copied it round to the other 3 corners. And once you got all of that done, what you want to do is come to the side where we have our main entranceway with the warped fence gate, and we're just going to come to this bottom stair right here and have a line of dark oak slabs going all the way across from one side to the other. You don't need to do that for the other 3 roofs. Whilst we're at the front section of the house, we may as well go ahead and fill it all in. So we're going to start off by having 1, 2, 3, 4 full brick blocks, and then we can grab our oak door and place that on the back of this center block just like that. And then we're going to switch around to the back and grab some stripped oak logs, and we're going to have a line going all the way up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 blocks either side of the door. We can then do the same over here, but only for 1, 2, 3 and 4, basically filling it all in so it looks nice and smooth from the front, which we'll check out in a second. But we also need an additional 2 blocks above our door here. And now we can swing back round to the front. As you can see, that's already looking pretty good, but we do need an upside down oak stair at this highest block in the center, and this little gap can become a window with an oak trapdoor, just like that. We are going to add a little thing out the front of our doorway here with some brick walls either side of it, a spruce fence on top of both of them, with a spruce stair facing outwards on top of both of the fences, and then lastly a slab in the center. Now we're going to move round to the right and the left hand side, and these are both identical, so it doesn't really matter which one you do first. I'm going to start on the right hand side over here, and we're going to have a full brick block next to the 2 logs here. And we're actually going to be placing in some furnaces in the middle, but we're going to save that until we're on the inside. So maybe for now, just mark some temporary blocks. And in front of them, we're going to have some coarse dirt, which will turn into a flower bed very shortly. But on top of the cobblestone here, we just want to have 1, 2 glass panes on top of all of them to make this 6 block window. And then we can switch over to our oak planks, and on top of the brick blocks, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4, same as we did around the front. And then we want to have 1 in the center here. And what we can then do is grab some stripped oak wood, the variant that has no log texture that is like that, for example. You want the nice clean texture, so you're going to have a single stripped oak wood on those 2 sections, and then you can switch over to your normal stripped oak log and have 2 more. And then we can swing round to the front here, and we're going to have another upside down stair at the top, similar to what we did out the front, and we just need an oak trapdoor as another window. So to make this flower bed, what we need to do is line the front with some spruce trapdoors, and we're going to have some upside down spruce stairs on the sides. Now obviously these 5 blocks are not going to be able to have crops planted on them, so what we're going to do instead is replace them with some spruce blocks, just to make it look a little bit nicer once you got all of your wheat or carrots placed in, or whatever else you're farming in here. So on top of the upside down stairs, we're going to have a single spruce fence with a spruce stair facing outwards on top of that one, with an upside down stair facing inwards like that, and then we're going to have a trapdoor in the middle and 2 more on top of the stairs just like that, and then lastly we're going to have a spruce slab in the center here. So that's what our finished flower bed looks like once we of course have some flowers in position. So this, as I said earlier, can be copied round to the left or the right hand side over here. For the final side, round the back of the build here, we're going to start off with 3 brick blocks with a single block in between all of them, where we can have 2 brick stairs. And then what we can do is place in 3 glass panes on top of these brick stairs. They're a little bit finicky to place when they're not connected to anything, but that's okay because we can place some oak planks next to them. So that's 4 on the log side, and then we're going to have a line going all the way up to the top in the center. We can then grab our stripped oak wood, the texture that doesn't have this, and put that on top of both of the glass panes with some regular logs on top of it, just like that. And now we can come around to the outside again, and on all of these 4 blocks, we're going to have a brick wall in front of them. And on the 2 outside ones, we're going to have 2 fences, but on the middle one, we're going to have 3. And what we can then do is add in a spruce slab on top of all of those fences with 2 more here, just to complete this shape, and that is the back of the build all done. Now would probably be a good time, if you haven't already that is, to start planting in some of your crops. So before we do that, there is one final thing we have to do. Just behind this warp fence gate, we're going to add a line of blocks going all the way until the door, even the one underneath it. It's going to pop off, but that's okay, as well as the 2 blocks underneath those brick walls. And you just want to replace that with some of our cobbled Deepslate, maybe mixing in a little bit of the regular Deepslate as well, if you wanted to. And we can go ahead and replace our door back down, and now you just want to go around with your hoe, tilling every piece of land that you can see that is inside the circle here. I should probably mention, you want to also replace the grass blocks underneath these brick walls round the back with some spruce planks or slabs. And what you can see here, as we're tilling this, you can actually just about see the block underneath the blocks we have placed down. So same again on the wall, you kind of have this pixel long line of dirt showing, which isn't really ideal. So if you wanted to, you can actually go around and replace all of the blocks underneath those just to make it look a little bit cleaner. So that's some added Deepslate for the wall, and then obviously you're gonna need some extra logs for this section, and yeah, so on and so forth. If you want to do that, feel free. If you don't, I understand, it's not really needed. And then of course you can go around and plant in all of your seeds. Now we can start filling in this section of the roof, and as you can see, I've already made a start here. So you just want to come to one of the 4 corners, and we're going to grab some copper stairs, waxed or unwaxed, it does not matter, but we're going to have 2 of them next to all of the dark oak stairs on both of the 2 sides here. And then we can grab some copper slabs, and we're going to have one on the top of that stair and another one just above it. So from this side, it should look like that. But we can come back round here and place in a couple of temporary blocks on the lowest slab. And on top of them, we're going to have 5 stripped dark oak logs going all the way up. And then we can go ahead and get rid of the cobblestone blocks below it. So if you haven't already, which you probably haven't because I've only just done this one side on camera, but go ahead and copy it around like I've done here. Now we can start work on the top section of the roof here, and we're going to be using some Deepslate tiles for that. So we're going to come to one of the sides here, doesn't matter which one at the moment, and we're going to have an upside down stair on the top of both of those logs with a regular one coming out of the back of it. And on top of the upside down stairs, we're going to have a full block with a stair on top of that one. And we just want to repeat the same. So upside down stairs, full blocks with regular stairs on top of them. And then lastly, an upside down one here in the center. And what you can also do actually while you're up here is just have a regular stair on top of the upside down one with an upside down one coming off the front. As you can see, I've copied it to the other 3 sides, and now what we can do is just pillar up to roughly the center of the build here, and we're going to have a Deepslate tile slab followed by a stair, then another slab for all of these sides. So slab, stair, slab for the other ones as well, just like this, which should eventually leave you with a single block in the middle that can just become a full block like so. And the final thing we need to do with these deep slate tiles, just underneath this bottom spot right here in all of the corners, is just have a slab placed down just like that. As for filling in the roof here, we're going to be using some of the warped blocks, and we're going to start off next to the 2 logs here with a full block followed by a slab. We're then going to have 2 full blocks on top of those logs with 2 stairs on top of them. And in between the 2 stairs, we're going to have another full block with another slab. And then we're going to have 2 more full blocks on both of those sides just like that. We'll take a quick step back so you can see what it should look like. And on top of these full blocks, we're going to have 2 stairs on both of them, followed by a single block in the middle here. And lastly, we're going to have a warp trapdoor. So you can copy this 3 more times. And you should end up with something that looks like this when it's all done. So now what we can do is start filling in these sections of the walls, and they're virtually the same for the most part, at least the base structure is. So what we're going to do is grab our calcite, diorite and polished diorite, and just to make it simple, we're going to fill it all in with calcite for now. So we want to start off next to these copper stairs and have a line across the bottom with another line on top of them. And we're going to have 1, 2 and 3 on both of the 2 sides, and we're going to have 3 glass panes in the center. We can then have 3 more on top, just like that, with another one at the highest point here. And now's where you can just go around and mix in a little bit of your diorite, using as much or as little of this as you would like to. Maybe whatever you've got on hand should be all good. Something like that is a-okay with me, and it should look like this on the outside for now. We're going to add in some extra details to this, but that is what differs on each of the sides. So just for now, fill in all of your walls and windows as we've done here. So what we're going to be doing for the front side as well as the back side too is coming to the center here at the lowest glass pane and adding in a spruce trapdoor just like that. And we're going to have 2 more either side of it, but make sure they're not in line. So it should look like this and not like that, because on top of those we want to place in some spruce fences, and on top of them have a couple of slabs with 1 more slightly higher up in the center. So this is what the front and the back looks like too. You can just go ahead and copy this quickly. And once you got that done, we can now move around to the left and the right hand side. So what we want to do is just grab a line of temporary blocks and place them like that. And we're actually going to have some spruce trapdoors just on the side folded downwards, and we can go ahead and get rid of the temporary blocks. And you're going to want to crouch as you do this, but we're just going to place some signs on the back as some added bits of detail, and you can go ahead and copy it around to this side too. So there we go, that is the exterior of the build all done. We are now ready to head inside and start work there. The first thing we're going to do inside of here, because it's a bit of a mess at the moment, is work out what we're going to do for the ceiling of the lower level here. And the first thing to do is to place some stripped dark oak logs underneath all of the calcite and diorite blocks that we have on the walls. So you should have something like this. And then what we can do on each of the corners here by our barrels is have a full spruce plank underneath the copper slab, and then 2 more here and there. So we should do that in all of the corners just like this. So 2 underneath the logs and then 1 underneath the slab. And now what we can do is just pick one side for now. We'll start at the entranceway here. That's always a good place to go. And we're going to have 2 spruce stairs upside down just like that, and then 2 more above it like so. And you can then copy that round to the opposite side over here just like that. And then lastly, we're just going to stick 1 and 2 spruce trapdoors in the middle. So you can copy what we've just done there round to the other 3 sides. Next up, you can go ahead and place in a lantern underneath all of these 4 blocks in the corners here. And now what you can do is go ahead and get rid of pretty much every grass block in the floor. And once you've done that, we're going to grab our stripped spruce logs, and on the 5 wide sections here, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, we're going to have 2 horizontal stripped spruce logs coming off all of those. So we can do the same for the entranceway here, as well as over on the left hand side, and of course round the back. Now we're going to leave these spots open for now. We'll come back to them later, but what we want to do is just add in a line of bookshelves going all the way around those logs here. Actually, what you can do if you wanted to is replace one of the corner bookshelves, as you only need 15, with a oak plank. Just if you want to save on 3 books if you wanted to, but it doesn't really matter all that much. It's not going to make a huge difference. Now we're going to be adding in the floor to the second level, as well as the staircase leading to it. So I'm going to recommend you position yourself by the oak door like I am here. And we're going to count in 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th bookshelf here, we're going to have an oak stair with an upside down one coming off the back, and then another one just like that. We can then come around to the left hand side here and have an upside down stair, and then basically just staircase our way up all the way until we eventually reach this spot right here. And that is where you can stop with the staircase, and now you can go ahead and fill the floor in with some oak slabs. So in line with the top of the stair, you pretty much just want to fill this entire floor in with these oak slabs, with the exception of a few blocks, which I'm going to show you right here. So leave this row open with the stairs, with the exception of this block in the corner. So just make sure you can actually use your staircase without, for example, hitting your head on the slab. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use it. As for doing the ceiling to the second floor here, the very first thing we're going to do is come to the center, and from this middle block we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 chains with a lantern hanging down from below. But we do need to make this look a little bit better. So what we're going to do is have a warped plank underneath all of these blocks in the corners here. And then we're going to have 2 upside down stairs facing outwards, just as I'm placing here for all 4 of the corners. So it should look like this. And then underneath this full block, we're going to have a warp slab 4 times, of course. And then we can switch over to our warp stair. And on the top calcite or diorite block here, we're going to have an upside down one of them 4 times. And then lastly, we're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 more upside down warp stairs. So if I just take a quick step back here, you can see what the ceiling design looks like. So that's the main building all done out of the way with. Now we can start placing down some of the items that you can see in my hotbar here. So we're going to start off with our furnaces, so we can go ahead and get rid of our temporary blocks. And on one of the sides here, we're going to have a smoker in the middle, and the other side is going to be a blast furnace. And then we can go ahead and stick 2 more furnaces either side of that. We're also going to place an enchanting table in the center of our bookshelves here, which is enough to get you 30 levels. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of the blocks surrounding the enchanting table and actually just place down some more furnaces. This way, if these 6 aren't enough, you do have some extra here that you can use if need be. But now we're going to switch over to our loom, cartography table, crafting table, and smithing table. And what I'd recommend you do, the one in this gap is where they're going to be going, by the way. This one next to the staircase, put the block that you're going to use least often. I would imagine it's probably going to be the smithing table, pretty much anything other than the crafting table. Don't place that down here, because to access it, you actually have to step inside this little area, which is pretty inconvenient, but you're not going to be visiting it that often. So on the other ones, we can have our crafting table, cartography table, and loom. On the back side here, we want to have ourselves a stone cutter in the center with an anvil and a grindstone either side of it. And now the last thing to do down here is to add in all of our storage. So next to the barrels, what we want to do is have 3 double chests stacked on top of each other like that on both of the sides. So as you can see, you can obviously access all of these chests here, as well as the barrels behind it and the utility block here. And if I just show you how it's going to work for the staircase one over here, you can still pretty easily place in all of your chests, but once you have that done, you'll be able to see why it's so difficult to access the smithing table, which is why I said earlier, don't put the crafting table there. So you can do that for all of the 4 corners, of course these 2 over here included. So that is the downstairs all done. We're now ready to head upstairs and add in the final details to our bedroom here, which is looking very open at the moment. So what you want to do on the side opposite where the staircase comes from is just place in your bed. Any color is absolutely fine. And we're going to have 2 barrels either side of it with an item frame in front of them. And we're going to place an oak button on the barrel. So not inside of the item frame. You want a big button poking through, just to add in a little bit of extra detail. I think it's pretty fun. And of course you can access the barrel too. But on top of the barrel, we're going to have a spruce fence with a spruce trapdoor on top of both of them, and then a spruce slab in the center, and a final trapdoor underneath it. So that is just a little bit of a cool bed design. And what we can then do over here in this corner, just where the staircase is, we can have an upside down spruce stair here, as well as here, and then a slab in the center. And lastly, we just want to cover that side up with a spruce trapdoor to make a nice little table, where on top of it we can have 2 chests as well as an ender chest in the center here. Or you could put whatever you want, it's actually up to you, but I just think some extra storage and an ender chest is pretty helpful. And the last thing we're going to add in here, trying not to fall down the staircase, is an armor stand, just to fill in this little area that was looking quite open. So we're going to place it right here, or here, I guess it doesn't matter too much, and just go ahead and slap some armor on it. So there we go, everybody, that is going to do it for today's tutorial. I really hope this one has helped you out and that you enjoyed watching. Thank you ever so much for doing that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.